Alright, looks like I finally got this working now. So I've got X. That, so I don't get any audio feedback. Watch this here. Check, check. Check, check. I got YouTube, got LinkedIn, and I got Facebook. All of them running down to 2 minutes. Okay, I think we're in a good position. I just need to make sure everything is aggregation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, and Instagram. So I was a little behind, so that's good. Okay, so let me bring up my lines. Alright, I think I'm finally ready for this. After a technical glitch. Turn it on here. Right here, now. Turn that off there. Where am I hearing it from? There we go. Got it. Cool. Don't want to hear myself. Alright, this is what happens sometimes when you are the production team and the IT team and the everything team, so let's see if I can find the list of questions. Okay, so here we go. Technical difficulties are removed. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up to the desktop.
With apps.
Nope. There we go. All right, let's do this while we're here.
With apps and data moving to the cloud, more mobile access, and cyber criminals getting increasingly sophisticated, you need the ability to protect and control your business data without compromising productivity. Microsoft 365 Business has security built into its productivity platform, which means with one simple solution to deploy and manage, you're protected. With Microsoft 365 Business, you can protect company email against spam and viruses and block ransomware and phishing attacks. It helps you prevent business data leaks by protecting your files and restricting the ability to copy or save sensitive information such as credit card numbers or social security numbers. Enjoy peace of mind with built-in mobile device management, including the ability to wipe business data on lost or stolen devices without affecting personal information. With Microsoft 365, protect what matters most. Everything you need, wherever you need it, in one solution.
Schedule your free 10-minute discovery call at
Alright guys, I think it's still playing there. So hey guys, welcome to the, what are we doing here? We are doing the Tech Exposed, or Tech Explained and Unplugged. This is your chance to ask a bunch of questions from and get answers from an IT guy who's been in this for 40 years. My name's Chris Colson. I'm a tech guru, and I've been dealing with this stuff since early dial-up days. So if you guys can, just go ahead and post your name or post your questions in chat, and I will do my best I can answer them. And we have a couple questions that are already queued up because we've had some technical difficulties getting this all set up. This is what happens when you're in tech support. You end up fixing your own problems quite a few of the times. So we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, so all 5 of them. And that definitely crashed some of the systems. So, here we go. So the first question comes to us from Sarah, and Sarah asks on Facebook, any quick tips to spot phishing emails right away? What's the easiest way to spot phishing emails? The easiest way for that, Sarah, is to look at the from address and see in the from address, is it coming from the person that you're expecting it from, or is it coming from somebody on some random email address? That's step number one. Step number two, look inside the email and see if there's urgency, that there's some sort of time or expiration, and see if they're trying to get you to click on a link to go somewhere else. There's a trick that you can do on Windows computers, usually in Outlook and Gmail, is if you put your mouse over the link, it will show you where it's going. And if it doesn't look like it's going where it's supposed to, it's just a bunch of random characters, that's another sign of a phishing email. So that's the first two things I would check for. There are some other tips that you can use, like urlscan.io, copy and paste the email link into that and see where it goes. This way you could see what it's doing, but not really expose your computer to any of the nefarious stuff that might be in the link. So I hope that's helpful. Cool. Mark on LinkedIn asks, what's one easy way to speed up our slow Wi-Fi at the office? The easiest way is to reboot it. And the easiest way to reboot it is to pull the power, let it sit for 10, 20, maybe 30 seconds, and plug it back in. Now, obviously, if you have an IT provider or an IT person, go please ask them first. Don't just start unplugging their equipment because they're going to get upset with you. Ask me how I know. But if this is like your home Wi-Fi or you, the IT person at that organization, go ahead and just unplug it and let it sit for a little bit. Sometimes it clears out the Wi-Fi access points. Some of the older access points have been known to overheat. And the same thing for your phone. It's always nice to reboot your phone or your laptop every once in a while just to kind of get a fresh, clean slate. So I hope that helps there, Mark. Awesome. Good. Glad you liked it. All right, so password security. Jen on YouTube's asking about how do I pick a password that's tough to guess? Do you mix letters, numbers, and symbols? That used to be what we did back in, I would say, just as early as 5-6 years ago. However, doing a complex password makes it hard for us humans to understand and to. Here I am talking, and there's no mic. There we go. I will start over because I guess the microphone was muted here. Maybe it wasn't. Now maybe I have an echo. Let's just check. Let's see what I got. Do I have an echo? Alright. Nope. Alright, cool. Then never mind. I'll keep on going. And I hear my echo in the background. So the first thing is, Jen, how do I pick a password that's tough to guess? Mix letters, numbers, and symbols. Back in the day, you used to be able to do that, but it's hard for us to remember. So what I recommend is making a phrase or something that's long. Longer passwords are harder to crack, even if it's just clear text, words like a color, an animal, a favorite fruit, maybe some numbers and a special character at the end of it, or the beginning of it. If it's 20 to 25 to 30 characters long, it's so much harder for them to guess than a password that's 6 digits long and has all these crazy characters into it. So I would highly recommend that. And since we're on the topic of passwords, if you're using a password manager, great. If you're not, please look into using one. Password managers help us humans stop for reusing passwords. And reusing passwords is just human nature. We don't like to exert any other energy. It's called conservation of energy. It's a scientific fact that we as humans try to conserve as many calories and not have to think as much as we have to. So I would highly recommend a password manager. Whether you're using a Apple password manager, using 1Pass or any of the others, those are a great place to start. And please, 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 do not save your passwords in the browsers. Passwords in browsers can be easily grabbed by going to the wrong websites or by scripts running in the background from maybe advertisers. So if you're using passwords and saving them in the browser, please look at using a password manager. They make them where they have extensions for the browser as well as also on your cell phone as well. Awesome. Glad that helped, Jen. All right, Alex on Facebook is asking questions about data backups. What's a simple way to back up your phone data? Do you use cloud services like Google Drive or iCloud automatically? Pretty much. It depends what you've got on your phone. Most phones, most computers, most things today are linked to the cloud. For instance, on a desktop, you would use something like OneDrive. Or there's other services and you guys could search this up and See, there are, I think Backblaze was one that we used to use in the past. But there's so many that can back up your computer either to each other or to USB drives. But I, in some businesses that we work with, use OneDrive because it backs up documents, desktop, and images. And depending on the plan that you have, in the enterprise, you have 1 terabyte of storage. On the personal size, I think you get maybe 2 to 5 gigabytes, and then you have to start subscribing to it. But I would highly recommend using a backup synchronization service like that, so you don't have to worry about your device getting lost or stolen or only having information on that one device. All right, so I hope that helps. Now, as for the phones, most of the phones are using like iCloud. So I've helped a few people do this with their iPhones. I just turn on photos to back that up, because when I ask them what's the most important thing that you want to back up off your phone, it's the photos. And this person did not have photos turned on, so I showed him under photos on the iPhone, you go in and just turn on Cloud Sync and just allow it to sync through your iCloud account. Alex asks, yes, you sometimes some of these services you will have to pay for. So yes, unfortunately. But that peace of mind knowing that your system's synchronized, backed up, is so much worth it than having to worry about accidentally dropping your phone into a lake and then your photos are at the bottom of a lake on a device that you can't even get access to. So where do you want to weigh there? And by the way, all the stuff that I talk about in this stream is not sponsored. This is just me talking from experience over 40 years of doing this stuff and helping hundreds of people and businesses as well. So, next question is from Priya on LinkedIn. How can I secure my home network easily? Well, there's a couple different things. If you're using the traditional Comcast, I would recommend putting in a small firewall. Those firewalls could be like a Linksys firewall, could be a Unify firewall, it could be a multitude of different devices. What this does is it stops Comcast from getting into and seeing how many devices you have connected to your network. But that's the first thing of securing your network. The second question about that was about wireless passwords. You would definitely want to change your wireless password. Most of them are encrypted now and they come with their own generated numbers. But you'll want to change the default password for sure. And if you get the chance, use WPA3 encryption, not WPA1 or WPA2. And to add to that, you may want to also change your password from time to time. And the reason I say that is because you may have friends or family or guests that come over from time to time, get connected to your Wi-Fi, and you may not be friends anymore, or their device may be compromised, so you don't want to have them accidentally connecting to your network. So I would change that. Antivirus. Tom on YouTube's asking, what's the best free antivirus for beginners? I would suggest using Microsoft Defender for the simple fact that it's integrated inside of Windows, as well as Edge and some of the other components that work well with the system. But there's something that we used to use in the past called Avast or AVG that's also fairly decent to use. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that on YouTube. All right, Lisa, what's going on Facebook? How do I update my computer software and quickly? It's pretty easy. So if you've got a Windows computer, what you want to do is hit the Windows key or click on the Windows icon and just start typing updates. When you start typing updates, a little window will pop up with these little circle arrow type things, and you can click on that and do an update. Fairly easy from that system. The other thing that, since we're in the updates, if you click on advanced, while you're in the updates, go to optional updates. This will also help you apply drivers that are for your printers or for, maybe your BIOS, maybe a sound card, maybe a graphics card and those things. Microsoft doesn't typically push down third-party updates, but they make it available for you to go do that. It's a small little trick us IT guys know, and I'm hopefully helpful. I'm hoping that helps you. It does? Awesome. Good. Glad to hear that. Okay, Raj, you've got a question here on LinkedIn. What's an easy fix for a frozen computer? I laugh because you're going to laugh when I tell you. Have you tried to turn it off and back on again? No, seriously. A lot of problems actually happen because of things in Windows. There's this inherent thing called a memory leak. When applications close, the memory that they use don't get released back into the system properly for other applications to use. They may lock it, and then another application tries to use it. This application says it's already got it, so you got these things conflicting with each other. In that case, what you'll want to do is pray that it doesn't blue screen and crash on you completely, because that's a big problem with crashes, drivers and memory and things like that. So your best bet is to turn it off, let it sit for 10 15 minutes, I'm sorry, 10 15 seconds, and then turn it back on again. The other thing that you can do is, if you've got a laptop, make sure that you're not just closing the lid and you're opening the lid again. That's not a full shutdown unless your IT provider has set it that way. Click on the start and then click on the little power button, and then that power button should say shut down. That's the best way to do it. Cool. All right. Who do we have next? We got Raj, Mia, YouTube. How to organize files on my desktop simply. There's a couple ways you can organize your desktop icons. You can right-click anywhere in your desktop, and you could do view, and you could view it by name. You can view it by type. You can view it by, I think there's size in there as well. Let me just double check that. Right-click, view. Yeah. Show desktop icons, auto arrange icons, auto align icons to a grid. You have small, medium, and large icons. You can also sort by name, size, item type, and date modified. Yeah, I was right. One thing that one of my techs has showed me, which I really do love, is that I can just hide all my desktop icons. I actually get to see my wallpaper on my screen when I'm working, and it's so much easier, and it feels so much better that without having all those icons around. Some people have told me when I had icons all over my desktop, it gives them OCD because it makes them a little weird, because it's just it gives them anxiety because of how many icons that I've had. Yeah. That was it's been interesting. All right, so let's see, file organization, browse optimization. So Dave, what's going on Facebook? What's a basic tip for fast internet browsing? Example of clearing. Okay, so yeah, so there's a really quick tip. If you're using Chrome or Edge, if you hit Control Alternate Delete, that'll actually lock up your system. Don't do that. Control Shift and Delete. Yes, Control Shift and Delete is a way that you can do it. So Control Shift and Delete will bring up a window that says delete all your browsing history, both in Edge and Chrome. I'm not sure if it works on Safari because there's no... I don't think it works in Safari. I think it's Command Option and Delete. Either way, what it does is allows you to delete your history between a couple days, couple weeks, or all of your history. That's how you would clear out your cache. The other thing that will speed up your browser is all those plugins that you may have, or other tabs that are open in the background. If you have a bunch of tabs open in browsers, each one of those tabs is an actual browser extension or a browser process that's running. You can verify this by opening up Task Manager. To do that, just right-click on the taskbar down in Windows, go to Task Manager, and then you can see under your instance of how many tabs and how many extensions you have open. The easiest way is to look at the processes, how much memory and how much CPU is it using. And this works for both Chrome as well as Edge, and Safari is a little bit different because it's a Mac. What you could do is, if you could try a different browser like Brave or Firefox and see if it's a system issue. Is your computer slow because of memory and processor and hard drive space, or hard drive response? Or is it going slow because you just got too much running and you're just starting to bog down the system? So you could try a new browser. If you don't feel comfortable getting a new browser, you could try a new profile inside of Chrome and Edge and see if that also helps speed things up a little bit for you as well. What that does is it allows you to do things on the internet without all of your shortcuts, without all of your extensions, without all of the other tabs and processes running. So that's another way to try to test that. All right. Let's see, what do we got here? File organization, browsing. Emily on Facebook is asking, how do I lock my screen securely? Well, do you want to use a PIN, fingerprint, or Face ID? What's the differences? Okay. So it used to be that you used a PIN on Android or a PIN on the Apple device. The problem with that is if you're typing that on your phone, somebody could see that you're actually typing that on your phone and still get into your device. Microsoft is also recommending to get away from passwords. How do you get away from passwords? Well, the easiest way to do that is start using the things called passkey, or on iPhones, it's called Face Unlock. On the Android device, it's a fingerprint. So this is the start of the two-factor process, which we can get into a little bit later. But start using those things so when you look at your phone, it uses the scan of your face to unlock your device, because your face is hard to replicate. Even if you hold up a picture over top of the phone, it's not going to know that, because it knows based on the LiDAR, forward-facing LiDAR, that it's a flat image. It's not a face. You could probably do it with a 3D model, but we're not going to get into that. It's too much for today's conversation. My point here is to use the face unlock or the fingerprint, the biometrics, so it's something that you know, your password, with something that you own, or something that you are. That's the best way to secure it. Could you put another finger? Yeah, you could put another fingerprint on those devices. Yeah, I do that with my my kids' devices. So I have my fingerprint also in there, so I can get in and help monitor and manage the devices. I hope that helps. Brian's asking on LinkedIn, what's a tip to avoid phishing texts? Simple. If you don't know, don't click. Just remember that. If you don't know, don't click. The IRS is not going to send you a text message. In fact, the IRS still uses fax machines. I really don't think they're going to be sending you a text message. No, the FBI is not going to send a police officer to your house to arrest you because you haven't paid a fine. No, the Department of Transportation is not going to give you a toll for riding on a road that you haven't been. For example, I got a text message recently that said that I'm going to get a fine on some sort of California toll road because I didn't pay it. It was like an $8 fine I had to go pay, or to avoid I think a $1,800 fine, and I needed to pay it within 5 days. Seriously, I wasn't even in California. My car wasn't in California, so there's no way that this is a valid text. So just stop and think, did you or were you there? Are you expecting a package from the post office that you need to log in to get this, to pay a fine to get this package? Most of the times they're going to be scams. So watch out for those. Let me see here. So if you don't know the number, I've gotten numbers from overseas when it starts with like a +41 and then the phone number. I know that's from overseas. And they tell me to do a bunch of different things with it. And I say, absolutely not. So stop for a moment, take a look at the text messages and see, does it make sense? Is it somebody that I know, somebody that I trust, or is it some random number? That's step number one. And then look at where it's going. That urlscan.io website works for there as well. But phones are a little bit more tricky. Phones, you have to press and hold on the link. But if you just tap it, it goes. You don't want to do that. So I would recommend just deleting the message and moving on about your day. That's the best thing that you can do. If it's somebody that wants money from you, they're going to probably call you and try to talk to you that way and talk to be a little more reasonable than just a text message. Yeah, so Katie mentioned the reason that they do that is because it works. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It does work. They are able to get money from unsuspecting people. So please do not fall for it. Please do not fall for it. How do I block? So we talked about that. How do you block it? So this is from Katie on YouTube. So how do you block scam calls on my mobile phone? This is the number one question I get almost every day. And there's a couple things that you can do, and something that I recently have done. If you can change your voicemail to be a little bit more funny, but most people don't want to do that. The next thing is to look into your cell phone provider. They may have an additional service. That additional service, will basically pre-scan the calls into their own database inside of their network to see how many people have recorded that as a scam, or as is a phishing call. I did do some other searching for you guys before I hopped on here to find out there's things like Truecaller. But be very careful. When I went and searched the App Store for Truecaller, there was the Truecaller app and about 10 to 15 other ones that had almost image by snapshots that were just a little bit different. So they were like trying to copy it. So be very careful about downloading scam phone call apps because you may just be inviting somebody to call you more. Okay? So I would say stick with the cell phone providers, whether it's T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, those guys. Stick with them to make sure that you're getting the verified or approved version of it. Well, I don't know if it works the same or not. I'm on Verizon and I'm doing some testing with it now. And sometimes it tells me it's a telemarketer. Sometimes it tells me it's a potential scam call. So the way I do it, and this might not be for everybody, is that if I have your contact in there and your name and your face pops up, then I know it's a valid call because it's from a valid number that I already have saved in my phone. If it's just a random number, it's going to go to voicemail. And my voicemail even says, send me a text message if you want faster response type of thing. Jordan, what's going on? Facebook. So, simple ways to enable two-factor authentication. Depends which account you're talking about. I'm just going to assume we're going to talk email. So in your email, if you're on Google, you could just go into security and accounts or accounts and security and then go under two-factor authentication and enable it. And I would not. Yeah. So don't use SMS. There is a video out there. And you guys can search this on YouTube from Veritasium that talks about how SMS and the cell phones are very insecure. And it talks about the S7 signal carrier. Without geeking out on you guys here, it just talks about how the cell phones grew from the traditional landline phones and about how numbers can be rerouted without anybody touching your phone. This is how a couple CEOs, I believe of Twitter before Elon bought it, got hacked. I'd have to do a little bit more research on that. But do not use SMS text authentication. Use things like Microsoft Authenticator, use Google Authenticator, use Authy. And I even saw just yesterday, I think First 1Password also has that rolling 6-digit number as well. So use things like that to help secure you. Two-factor is something you know, with something you are, with something else. I can't remember the last part there. Sophia from LinkedIn asks how to check for malware on Android. So Apple and Android do a pretty decent job of looking for malware apps that are out there, but they're not 100%. So there are some antivirus programs out there that you could download, but only download those ones that you trust. For instance, Norton or Defender, or it's really hard to say. You typically don't get viruses on computers and desktops and mobile phones anymore. You typically get viruses, or not viruses, it's mostly phishing attempts. Somebody sending you an email and trying to fake say they're from your boss, or trying to get you to click on a link to go pay for something that you don't really owe them money on. So that's what we see most of the day. So viruses are, I won't say they're nearly gone, but it's changed. It's shifted over the years as to where most of that's from. I would say be very careful in the apps that you download. In fact, today might be a good time to go do an audit of your phone. Delete the apps that you know you don't use or you don't play with. Just get them out of there. Because apps by themselves have access to your data on your phone in different aspects. So if you're not using it, chuck it. Big spring's coming up here in the Northeast, so it's time for some spring cleaning maybe. All right, so Lucas, what's going on? Public Wi-Fi safety. YouTube asks, tip for safe public Wi-Fi use on phone. I can tell you right now, don't use it. Don't use public Wi-Fi. If you have to, make sure you have some sort of VPN set up. Why do you want a VPN? Because it encrypts the traffic going across that connection. If you're traveling outside the country, make sure you're using a VPN so at least the data comes tunneled through the VPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, Lucas. So use a virtual private network. There's a lot of those softwares out there. It's $2-3 a month. But what it does is it helps you tunnel all your traffic, your credentials, your session keys through that tunnel back to some safe destination. So say, for instance, you're traveling to, I don't know, Mexico or something like that. You could use a VPN and the endpoint could come out in New York or Texas or Seattle. Certain applications are starting to be limited or locked down where only United States based IP addresses are allowed. But using VPNs allows you to get through that. So it depends on the sophistication, but I would highly recommend not using public Wi-Fi. If you need Wi-Fi, use your cell phone and hotspot it. Connect your laptop to it to use Wi-Fi, because at least on the cell carrier that you're using, Verizon, it's a little bit more secure than using something that's publicly available for anybody to get access to. All right. So let's keep on going. All right, let's see here. We talked to Lucas on Wi-Fi. Olivia, how to spot fake apps. That's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. When you're looking at apps in the store, you want to look at the number of users. Sometimes the number of users and even the likes and the reviews can be faked. So just look at the companies. In fact, even looking at Microsoft Authenticator on the Apple Store and the Android Store, there are about 5 or 6 ones that look so much like the icon that I have to instruct our clients to say, be very careful which one you look at. Make sure it's from Microsoft Corp, not Microcorp, or just a different variation. What happens is the bad guys are actually taking advantage of you being busy, just trying to go from one thing to the next. So stop for a second, take a look at it, and see if it makes sense. All right. So Ethan, what's going on LinkedIn? I see that you're talking about password managers for mobile. Yes, there's a couple. There are several. In fact, there is if you're on Apple, you have the password. I think Apple just this last update came out with an actual specific app for that. You also have a first pass, last pass, any pass. You also have on Google the password manager, which is kind of integrated with the browser, which is not the most safest of things to do, but by using a password manager, you're at least trying to keep from having multiple passwords or multiple systems use the same password. There's a website I'm going to recommend. Now, again, none of this is paid, but I've used this quite often to show people how many breached systems their passwords were in or has gotten leaked out there. So if you're using the same password on multiple websites, you're more likely going to get compromised. Somebody's able to log into another one of your accounts using the same username and password. It's called Have I Been Pwned? PWNED. If you go out and search the web for that website, put your email in, and it will tell you which databases your information is in and what's leaked, whether it's your name, first name, last name, social security number, your address, your gender, your pay rates, and most importantly, your passwords and emails. So what's associated to your account? What could be used to try to log into another account with the same credentials? This is why I'm very adamant about don't use the same passwords. Please, 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 please. So by using password managers, you can prevent that from happening. So if somebody says change your password, don't just put another character behind it. Don't just put another number behind it. Use this password manager, copy and paste out a new password, pop it in there, make sure you save it in the password manager, and you never have to worry about remembering that password again. I promise. I promise. Okay. So next up, we have fish reporting. Isabella on YouTube mentions, can you report phishing emails on the phone? So yes, you can. There are a couple things from the Federal Trade Commission and the Federal Communication Commissions. One of those is you can actually forward those to spam@uce.gov. You can mark it as spam in your mailbox. You can also block it in your mailbox, but that only goes for so long. It doesn't really have the best results that you want. This is where you contact your IT guys and talk to them that this spam mail that keeps coming in always has this text just from a different email address. Talk to your IT guys. They'll go ahead and put a policy in the mail flow rules inside of Microsoft or Google and block certain characteristics inside of that email. That way that protects you going forward and you don't have to worry about it anymore. All right, going forward, banking. Noah from Facebook asks, basic steps to secure mobile banking app. Yeah, enable biometric. Yes, that's exactly what you want to do. So yes, you want to enable your biometric security. If you haven't seen it, passkeys is the key, one of the ones that I would recommend because it uses that biometric security. On Windows, it uses Hello for Business, which you can actually type a PIN. Some of you may be typing PINs now instead of passwords. That is the biometric feature to try to protect your password for Windows. On the Apple devices, it is the face scan with the forward-facing LiDAR. Some of the older Apple devices actually still use the fingerprint if they have the button. And Android devices have the fingerprint usually on the back side, or I think even Samsung has them on the front of the phones. So I would highly recommend using that. Wait a minute, I'm looking for more questions. Let's see. It's 11 p.m. Yeah, I see that. All right, so. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Rippin. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, my video's cut off because I'm kind of like trying to stream in the middle, so I'll try to stand in the middle for you guys. Sorry about that. All right, and let's see what's happening there. Any other comments? I'm looking through my list here of social networks. Okay, got that. All right, let's get back to it. Let me see here. How do I encrypt my mobile phone data? Liam on LinkedIn is asking, how do you encrypt my mobile phone data easily? So in the security settings of both Android and iPhone, I keep saying iOS, but the Apple devices, you should be able to see that under security. And today, most devices should be default to that. Yeah, they should default to that because the older days, you were able to pull hard drives out of the computers and able to then plug it into another computer and see the data. Now with BitLocker on Windows or Apple File Protection Services or File Vault services on Apple, it will actually encrypt it. So you can't pull it out and just plug it into another computer and get access to data. That's the whole purpose of encryption. That's the whole reason we keep recommending going to the cloud, synchronizing things to the cloud to make sure that if the device gets stolen, lost, or broken, who cares? Get another device, sign in your account, let it synchronize, bring all that stuff back down. Let's see what else I have. Check the other networks. Emma's asking on YouTube, what's a way to avoid phishing on social media? Think a little bit. When you're going through social media and you're doom scrolling, stop before you click on anything and say, is this valid? Is this real? Is this a scam? Is this a pop-up? Is there any kind of urgency that is been applied to it? Is there any reason that I have to go do this? Those are easy ways to get not to get scammed. I would say not easy ways, but steps 1 and 2. The other one is be careful who you're talking to on social media. I do know there's a lot of, how do I put this nicely? There's a lot of opportunistic people out there that are trying to take advantage of those less fortunate, so to speak. I've heard of some people who were using dating apps, or somebody got a random text message. I get random text messages all the time. And they're like, hey, Chris, how's it going? I don't even respond to them because it's not somebody that I would reach out and talk to. If they want to get a hold of me, they have all the social means to get a hold of me. They can give me more information, but I'm not going to reply to those text messages because what they are people who are just trying to fish for an opportunity. I've seen people some elderly people and some single people actually start having a conversation. They're building a relationship, and then they start asking for money. Hey, I want to get $500 to take a bus to come see you because I really miss you, and blah blah. Or I need $500 because I'm going to be thrown out in the street because I'm going to be homeless. So again, it's taking advantage of people's nice characteristics to help other people. So be careful, very 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 careful with that. That's how you avoid being phished on social media. In IT world, there's a thing called zero trust. Don't trust anybody until verified. Same thing goes with text messages, emails, anything, especially that involves payment. Stop and think about it. I had a gentleman. Well, I can go into cybersecurity stories a little bit later, but that's not the point of this webinar here, or this go live. Is there an easy way? So William on X, is there a simple step to update mobile OS for security? Yeah, you go. So yeah, on Apple, you just go into the settings and then check for software updates. If you want to get the very latest and greatest, after about 30 days, Apple will start pushing these updates to you regardless. So it's always good to update your apps and go in every once in a while and check them. So you can also go into the App Store. After a major update, sometimes the applications don't self-update right away, so you'll want to go ahead and update them. I gotta watch this because he said I'm not in the center here. All right, cool, updated. Call screening on Android and iPhone. Yes, Charlotte. Charlotte on Facebook is asking about call screening on the phone. So Android's had this for a couple years, and Apple just came out in their latest version 26 with call screening. I would recommend turning that on. However, some people have had some mixed results with that, because if the person doesn't have that contact in their phone, the assistant will say, this person's unavailable, but if you could please start telling the reason for your call, and then you're able to see that on your screen, and then you can answer the call. The reason I say mixed results is because sometimes I want my phone to ring, but I want to be able to see what's going on. If they're leaving me a voicemail and it's for a doctor's appointment or something like that, then I'll pick it up right away because I might not have their phone number saved directly. I've had some times where my phone didn't ring at all, but that I think is the focus modes that I'm in. So I would say definitely set up the filter to filter unknown callers, but just be careful with that if you do enable it, that you don't miss those important doctor calls or or other family member calls. All right, got a couple more here. I've got James. He's on LinkedIn. He's asking for tips for securing mobile hotspots. Yes, so the hotspots that we talked about a little bit earlier, you want to go ahead and set a password to those. And those passwords are something that only you know. In the hotspot settings of both Android and iOS, you have hotspot and you can change your own password. I would say make this something that only you know. Again, the longer the better, and makes it less prone to breaking into. But always use your phone hotspot, or if you have to use a public Wi-Fi, make sure absolutely you use a VPN. All you have to do is do a DEF CON search of Wi-Fi over in Vegas. DEF CON's the United States. It's a place where a lot of security professionals go, and they try to break things. They break things so they know how to fix things. So, and Wi-Fi is notorious for that. Scam. So Amelia on YouTube say, can you report scam texts? Yes, there is a service, I believe, if you forward it to 7726. I think that's made by the Federal Trade Commission. Don't quote me on that, but I saw that the other day and thought that was pretty interesting to let you guys know. Is Benjamin on X. So we got a couple more minutes here, guys, so go ahead and get your questions in. I'll be happy to answer those. I've got a few more questions to get through, and yeah, then we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. So let's see, it's 3:33 Eastern time. Good. So X Benjamin says, basic mobile firewall app recommendations. So I'm curious why you're trying to use a firewall on your phone, because they should have their own security built into those. I'm not sure I understand that question there. I know there's that thing called no root firewall for Android and basics. I'm not sure what you're trying to do there. Can go ahead and give me a little further explanation. I'll get back to it. Evelyn, voice phishing. Yes. So Evelyn on Facebook's asked how to spot voice phishing calls. So it's interesting. My father just got one from an electric company saying he needed to call them to switch their electric provider. And I told my father, I'm like, this does not make sense. He was worried that his electric bill his electric is going to get turned off in his property. I said, I don't think that's right because the company that does it is a different name. So I think this is somebody trying to call you and either scam you to try to switch or at least try to do something that doesn't make sense. So how do you spot the voice phishing calls? Is number one is you're going to start seeing a lot of automated stuff with AI coming out, and that's the question. That's the next question coming up here. The AI stuff is automated attendants that have almost real world communication, like you and I, or just like me here talking to you. So you have to be aware of your surroundings and understand what they're trying to do and trying to get you to do. Either give you they're trying to get you to give them an account number, for instance, like your water bill or your gas bill or your electric bill or something like that, or worse, your social security number or your IRS tax number, just other information that's personal to you. I can tell you this right now, do not give that over the phone because more likely it's going to be a scam. It's hard to tell the scams today because of the sophistication of AI being built into different things, but also the sophistication of these cyber criminals that are trying to take advantage of, just general people having a good time, right? When they're asking for secure confidential information, or PII, personal identifiable information, that's going to be flag number one. When there's urgency, that's flag number two to how to spot these voice phishing calls. That you've got to act right now, or we're going to send the FBI to come get you, or you've got to do this, or we're going to send this email out that you were doing some crazy stuff on your computer. No, they're trying to use fear factor tactics. And if you remember back in psychology days in college or even high school, it's taking advantage of people's willingness to try to help and be helpful to others. It's just called human nature, but these guys are trying to take advantage of that. So that's how I would spot voice phishing calls. And another one is, if you get that automated attendant that calls you all the time, just press 9 or 7. They're supposedly going to do not call list, but I can guarantee you won't. You'll get a call again the next day. So yeah. It's nice. Nice, Cody. So Cody's asking about what's my take on AI. Now, this go lives are already kind of long. I'm not even sure how long we've been on this. About 15 minutes. Yeah, okay, about 15 minutes now. So my take on AI is that we're going to have to learn to live with it and use it and figure out what makes it work. Just like we all figured out how to make emails work. Just like we all figured out how to make the internet work. AI is not going anywhere. It's not in a bubble. It's not a .com bubble that's going to disappear. I've seen some really significant shifts in a lot of different industries that have embraced AI and started to use that. And I'm following a lot of leaders that are talking about AI, whether it's the NVIDIA president or it's Elon or it's others that are the shakers in the whole AI race. And what I'm seeing so far is that you're going to have the difference between those that adopt AI and those that don't use AI. Those that don't use AI are going to be like the phone books to what the internet did for finding information for companies. A lot of us just Google or search a company name and find directions, the phone number, website, and maybe even order some things, whether it's Grubhub or one of those delivery services. So for those, I would say learn to use it as much as you can. Start with your favorite chat engine, whether it's Grok, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, Even some of the websites still have AI built into them. But start using those. Start having a conversation with them. Put them on voice mode. Start talking with them, and seeing how they respond. You'll find that as you start to use it, it'll be like the internet. How did you ever live without it? Because of the amount of resources and the amount of information that it has at its fingertips. Think about it. All of the world's internet and knowledge available to some device that you can speak to and ask questions. In fact, later this year, I know OpenAI is working on this. I know Google's working on this. They're working on small devices that you can attach, whether it's in your little earbud or you can attach to your lapel, to ask it questions without using your phone. These are going to be independently connected devices that are going to be connected to the AI systems that you're going to be able to talk to at any time for any questions that you need. You'll say things like, hey, Gemini, order me a Pizza Hut pizza. I want 2 cheese pizzas and a pepperoni pizza. And it will know to go to Pizza Hut, order these, pay for it, and deliver it to your house or have it delivered to your house. This is the stuff that's coming. It's like our own personal assistant. I've been watching this for many, many years, and it's really maturing that it could be a huge benefit to humanity to be able to do some of the jobs that a lot of us don't want to do. For instance, mining ore for lithium and cobalt for making batteries. Nobody wants to go out there and dig in the ground. Well, some people do, like bulldozers and whatnot. But for the most part, we need something to help us with these mundane tasks, or to stamp envelopes, or to sort a CSV file. Right now, they're working on a digital human aspect of it. So anything that a person could do at a computer, they're looking at AI to be able to do something similar to that. And I know Elon's talked about going from a digital human to the robotic side of things, which is a conversation for another time. So I appreciate that question, Cody. I could sit here and talk about AI all day, but I know you guys got other things to do, so I don't want to take up any more of your time. This is a go live every Wednesday at noon, minus any technical difficulties that we had today. So I appreciate your guys' patience. Let me just double check, see if there's any other questions you guys have, and kind of go through that. Yeah, looks good. No more questions. Thanks, Rippin. No more questions. All right, good deal. So join us next Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time for another one of these go lives. If you have questions, just pop it in chat. I'll be happy to give you the best answer I can. And no, this is not AI produced or AI generated. This is me, after 40 years of just IT experience, up here telling you guys what the best I can. Making a name for Colson Technologies here, an IT company that can help you guys with all kinds of technical problems. And I'm just going to end it there. So thanks again. I appreciate you. Take care, and I'll see you next week.